Eric, Ryan, and James. This week we will be talking about Star Wars ships, covering everything from the classics all the way through Legends and new canon. So stay tuned for that one. Uh, we'll do our little nerdy news roundtable. Uh, we'll start with Eric, who is struggle busing with his Iron Man helmet.
Worth it.
Okay, so I was going to talk about Mortal Kombat. I
I
know
got a
it's kind
question
of
before we get into it.
I'm
With your
excited to see
helmet,
that movie.
with the way that the blue light is set up, does it like blind you out when you're wearing it, or can you legitimately see?
you can legitimately see, like you could
Nice.
cosplay with this thing. But yeah, so my big thing would probably be the Mortal Kombat right now. It's already past its like cost. It had a really good come out party. And they did some very interesting steps in regards to the movie, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Because if you look back at like the Mortal Kombat games themselves, there was always a new person who became the focal point of the games, which they seem to be doing with the movies. Like in the first one, I know they made a new character. I thought it was kind of cool though. He was the focal point of that whole movie. And then in the second one, it was Johnny Cage. And now, if you go back and look at the games themselves,
Johnny Cage is my favorite.
if you go back and look at the games, technically speaking, the second one for the video games was Johnny Cage was the big name, and he actually won that tournament. Um, so I have yet to watch it, so I don't know how it ends or anything like that, or like who wins it. But I think it's cool that they're kind of following a little bit more with the game concepts, obviously not the storyline. Um, but
Now this is the one with
that's my big thing.
Carl Urban coming in as
Yeah.
Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
Awesome. I'm glad that one's succeeding. I had high hopes for that.
yeah, it is.
I'm
It's doing a lot better than the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, they're
Yeah,
already
it's
past
doing a lot
like
better.
it's already past what it cost the studio to make it, so they're already talking about doing a third one.
Hey,
I'm
I've
fantastic.
heard very little like bad things about it, other than it's kind of a corny movie. But like
It-
that's to
Oh,
be.
it's a
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat movie. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
corny.
Yeah, they're expecting Oscar like
No, I mean that's the thing.
stuff
Nobody's
going.
expecting that, but that's like the only complaint kind of thing that anybody really has.
A lot of people were happy fatalities came back. I guess I
Yeah.
haven't, like I said, I haven't watched it yet, but like they actually do like straight up fatalities and stuff in the movie, like the games and stuff. So that's
I'm
I'm
gonna
pretty
watch it
I'm
next
cool.
excited.
Saturday while Travis is
I,
here.
Yep,
I think I'm gonna take
James
my
and I are
little
gonna go
kids
watch
to
that
it.
one together. I'm so excited.
See, I'm actually I had it's been a really good month. And will be a good month for like upcoming releases, right? I'm having to play my nickels and dimes just right because I really don't want to miss out on was it Mandalorian and Grogu comes out on the 22nd. So that's next weekend. I'm super excited about it. And my kids are stoked about A24 coming out with a Backrooms movie
Oh
that is
yeah, I
supposed to
saw that.
release later this month. And I watched some trailers for it. Doesn't look bad. I might give it a watch see. So
Back to back. Mortal Kombat, Mandalorian, and Grogu. There, Travis.
I'm down. Yeah, dude, you're not gonna scare me
ah
with a double header.
jealous.
like,
Jealous.
oh no, I have to sit down and watch movies from IPs I like.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in because my news is in the gaming stratosphere. First off, I do want to say that I'm excited to be back and getting the show going up again. It's been a really dry This Is the May so far
Yeah.
with our Star Wars content. Lots of chaos going on behind the scenes for anybody that's watching and curious. So we're stoked to be coming back doing some Star Wars content for This Is the May. However, my news for today is the early access release for Subnautica 2. Now this is a franchise that is very near and dear to my heart. I played the holy living crap out of the first one and its expansion Below Zero. I probably have a combined 800 hours easy in both of those. For anybody interested, Subnautica is a kind of a groundbreak in the form of survival horror solo gameplay. The first game took place predominantly in the middle of an ocean on a massive planet full of giant monsters, and you had to use your little 3D printer and your wits in order to survive and unravel what happened on the planet. Um, Below Zero was similar, continuing the story. I'm not going to spoil anything because I think everybody should play it. And Subnautica 2 has been one that fans are just chomping at the bit for. They've been calling for it, clawing for it. Reddit post after Reddit post, and the fact it's finally here has my heart thumping. I am so excited.
There's a whole like big controversy around that too. There's like a lawsuit from the original founders being fired by Krafton, the publisher. Like there's a whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, they're alleging in the lawsuit that they like intentionally delayed the release of it.
Interesting
So
move.
there's a whole thing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that story goes. I do know that I'm one of those that just loves the franchise. So
this proves that you like survival crafting games.
Yes,
that's true. When they're solo,
you don't like playing Ark with us.
You don't want to play with us? I see how it is.
Hurts. Hurts bad.
I will admit.
Oh, go ahead.
As I will admit that my relationship with crafting survival games is weird. The ones that I've played, I have absolutely fallen in love with. The only one legitimately that I have really negative feelings about is Ark, which is a game I love a whole bunch. I think Ark is fantastic.
Ark is so. Even when you play on a private server, Ark will go out of its way to abuse you.
Absolutely, dude. Running solo alone, Ark will go out of its way.
Getting killed. Like
mad mods, my computer can barely handle it. It's so modded. Still, I'm fucking losing.
Yeah.
Getting
murked by a T-Rex like 300 feet under the ocean was probably like one of the tipping points for me. I was like, I cannot believe that just happened.
See, I think what combines the two franchises for me, what I love, is that it's a survival crafting game that does have kind of a pseudo-linear story progression, right? Like you're uncovering a mystery, you're figuring out what happened bit by bit, and every time you craft into a next tier, it gives you what you need in order to explore or expand or find new clues. And that's an element that I wish more survival crafting games in the modern day kind of had to it.
You want to go next, Travis?
Yeah, so mine's fairly minor. Amazon has officially announced that it has canceled its Lord of the Rings MMO. So whatever development and work they had put into that is going to be all for naught. That project got completely pulled. I have no idea really what stage they were at in development on it. But the Lord of the Rings MMO has just been completely scrapped. So
Lord of the Rings is a weird franchise to do that kind of video game for. It's had mixed success.
Elves, dwarves, and men. You've got the orcs, goblins, trolls. You've got all the parts there to make an MMO.
That's true. I will say that out of all the video games and even tabletop RPGs that I've played for Lord of the Rings, it's going to be hard to bypass Mines of Moria.
I actually have a lot of news. A lot of things happened this week that y'all guys didn't mention. One, okay, y'all don't care about this one. Tacticians Pro Cup, TFT Pro Cup, was last weekend. K3 Soju won. Pretty big deal.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a good match. Like it came down to literally the last game. Like anybody could have won still. So I like when it's like that. Also dropped this week was Punisher One Last Kill. Don't know if y'all have watched it yet. It's
Not
pretty
yet.
fucking good.
It's
enjoyed
on my
it.
list.
I'm wrapping up season 2 right now.
Have you seen The Raid? The movie The Raid? It's like a mini The Raid, basically.
Oh, I like that.
Raid was fantastic.
But with more shooting and violence.
More shooting and violence than Raid? Interesting.
Yeah, okay. Then the other kind of big things that I want to talk about was Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 8 just dropped this week, as well as the backer kit for his TTRPG ends tomorrow, and it is currently at $11 million, quickly approaching 12.
Out of its needed, what, 250,000?
Yeah, 250,000. Yep. So
Nice.
excited about that. Also, Warhammer Skulls 2026 is set, so we're going to be getting a bunch of new information from that when they stream on the 21st. This is a 10th anniversary. It's going to be hosted by Alana Pierce, who's she does a lot of, previously a journalist for IGN and does a lot of stuff nowadays. She was a battle sister in Bolt Gun 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see what kind of news we get. We'll probably get stuff about the Space Marine 2 and Dark Tide, and hopefully the Total War.
Vulcan.
Dude, Total War Warhammer 40K is going to be a game changer, I think. I got nothing but mad hopes for that one.
Dude, there's so many people hyped for that game.
And that is about
So-
the extent of my news.
All right, I do want to step in one more time. The reason I saved this one for last is this one's a little bit controversial. I'm personally very excited about it, but we did get news this week that continuing just a chain of positive actions, new Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has taken it upon herself to officially cancel the console and mobile rollout of the gaming Copilot AI features. I know a lot of people were looking forward to or had controversial opinions about that. I think this is going to be a good move, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm becoming more and more impressed with this new CEO and some of the stuff she's doing, especially after the slashes and changes she made to Game Pass and to a lot of features on the Xbox platform. I think she's taking the company in a good direction.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't read anything about that yet. I'll probably take a look at it. I'm always curious. It sounds.
I don't follow.
know.
I don't follow any Xbox or anything like that news anymore since I've moved on.
Yeah, you've left the wars, man. Smart. I will be right behind you as soon as I can pull it off. But with the end of our news, guys, we are going to get into our main deal. Just like Travis told you, we're going to be covering ships from Star Wars, which is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I actually got to give Eric some credit for this one because he came up with kind of the guidelines for the episode, comparing and contrasting some of the older model ships from the Old Republic with some of the more modern stuff, and the expanded ships that we're starting to see from some of the kind of spin-offs and secondary Star Wars stuff, which I have been so excited about. Before we get into it, though, guys, if you like what you're hearing and you enjoy listening to four nerdy dudes talk about nerdy stuff, please consider supporting the channel any way you can. We have a whole new line of merch that's up, some of the OG stuff, as well as our brand new stuff, which in my opinion is just an upgrade and really good quality. However, you don't have to give us your money in order to support the channel. If you're feeling especially generous, you can give us a like, give us a comment down below, tell us what you think, and most importantly, give us a follow because we know the way.
So before we get like super deep into it, what's everyone's least favorite ship in Star Wars? Doesn't have to be a named one; could just be a ship type.
Okay.
Because I want to end with what everybody's favorite is. So we're
That's
gonna close the episode out with favorites, but I gotta know, like, what one do you dislike the most?
I don't know, maybe not dislike it the most, but I kind of get. I don't think the Tantive 4 is that cool of a ship. I know
Yeah.
like it's popular because it's like the first one that was shown on screen, which is cool. That's a cool thing. But
Yeah.
like, I don't think it's a cool ship.
Now the CR-90 Corvette gets wildly overhyped because of that, I think. The Tantive 4 was famous because it had a princess on it. That's really all it had going for it.
Yeah, wasn't that like the bog standard Rebellion cruiser?
It wasn't even the bog
Tantive?
standard. It was like a blockade running transport ship. Very lightly armed, very lightly armored.
Yeah, the only reason that particular ship is of any note is because
it's the
very
first one you
ship
see.
that is shown for the entire series, right? Like,
It's iconic.
It is iconic, I'll give you that, but it is not a good ship. When it comes to my least favorite ships, it gets into a weird position for me. Okay, listen. Y'all ever heard the joke that if you're driving down the road and you smell oil burning, if you don't think it's your car, you grew up in a different tax bracket? That's kind of my opinion on a lot of ships in Star Wars. I have a sincere dislike for ships with too many unnecessarily moving parts. And so I go back and forth. Now I'm going to bring up some evidence of this later on, but when you have like a gauntlet fighter, that was Mandalorian gauntlet fighters during Clone Wars, where they have the exterior wings be able to fold up with the engines now pointing down in order to land. That is so many moving parts that are entirely unnecessary that are just gonna break on my ship. And so because of that, probably Ahsoka's Jedi fighter, because it has no business with that many moving fins and pieces on it.
I feel you.
I'm going to look up the name of that one right now because I cannot remember it.
Eric, what do you got?
I'm going generic, man. Like, I don't understand why the Empire used TIE fighters, dude. Put a shield on some stuff. Most of them couldn't shoot to begin with.
Pilot problem. That's a antagonist issue.
Hey, weren't you? Wait, you were Army, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand mass-produced, mass-leveled material. It's it's the actual meaning of military grade.
Yeah, but even the Army was smart. Even the Army was smart enough to know that, like in the beginning of Iraq, you had no armor, and then as you went along, you got armor. There was a reason for that. So yeah, I never understood the Starfighter as to why it worked the way it did. I don't see why having any sort of shielding would have been an issue with it. It would have been a lot better. I almost think that Vader had a play in that just because the older Jedi ships didn't have shields, or they had very little shields on them. I feel like he had the concept of you should just be good enough not to die.
But have you seen the Black Ace? Because that's a fucking cool. Used to be a TIE fighter.
Yep. Well, and when you start looking at the TIE fighter, that's such an umbrella term. I know you're talking about the what's Bones, help me here. What's the standard TIE fighter?
Oh, I don't.
The TIE LN.
I was looking at stuff. Yeah, something like that.
So the TIE LN was a starfighter deployed for mass area coverage. It didn't have shields. It had 2 forward laser cannons, but it was fast as balls, and good pilots could do amazing things with them. What the Empire lacked was good pilots, and the reason you never saw
had a lot of them.
Yeah. But you never saw good pilots in a TIE LN because of the other TIEs that actually came out that were good. The TIE Advanced model built for Darth Vader. TIE Interceptors had some of the best aces out there. The TIE Defender,
the 3-winged TIE Fighter. I forget what it's called.
The one with the stealth capability.
Yeah.
I forget what that one's called too. But you had lines of TIE Fighters that were fantastic. But again, similar to the CR-90 in the movie, the TIE LN became iconic as the TIE Fighter because that's the one we saw. That was the one they kept packed like sardines inside Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, they are stackable. So I mean,
yeah, they are stackable and modular.
Yeah. Mine is the G9 rigger.
Oh, what's wrong with the G9?
The same reason you had problems with too many moving parts. The G9 rigger has an insane number of unnecessary moving parts.
That is actually a fact. I'm going to give you that. All right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, the fact that the wing can deploy to either direction and it so it doesn't matter what the shape of it is for spaceflight because it's zero gravity. Yeah. Nobody cares, right? You're not dealing with aerodynamics, but what an awkward thing to land or store or do anything with, because that is it's insanely long for no reason. You don't need a fin that sticks out that far on one side. You don't need a ton of all the extra moving parts that it has. It's supposed to be a freighter, but when you see it in the show, there's no space. That thing holds nothing.
It's a shuttle, man. I don't know why they call it a freighter.
Yeah. I hate it. I think it's ugly. I think it's terrible. I think they overhyped it in the show because Anakin was the pilot of one.
Yeah, well, and even when he was piloting it, it was still a clunky Millennium Falcon piece of junk.
Yeah, the reason the Falcon was dope is all the illegal modifications. That's what made the Falcon iconic. Is that he ripped out most of his cargo space to put bigger engines in it.
Well, and I think you're right about that. Generally, what's weird is when you find something like G9 rigger, it ends up in its peculiarity because it's a transitional freighter, right? It needs to be good in Atmo. It needs to be good in 0G. But G9 rigger did none of that.
Atmosphere. There's no way.
There's no way. You're absolutely 100% right. There is one ship that has an unbelievable amount of moving parts that the only saving grace that I give it is because it needed to function in Atmo, and that's the B-Wing Interceptor. Because the B-Wing had that rotating cockpit so that the big-ass generator fin could flip around it and be able to engage. There's no reason to have a rotating cockpit in space.
No.
Down is always down.
Down is always going to be based on perspective because there's no up.
Yeah. And so I don't understand why. Obviously, it needed it for in Atmo then, for whatever reason, but I don't understand what that would be.
Yeah,
so
I don't get it either.
Okay, before we get into exact ships, there's one thing I did want to get everybody's take on. And just
hold on, we
kind
still
of
need
look.
We still need Bones' least favorite, don't we?
No, Tantive
he
4.
already gave
That
his
was
Oh,
vote.
Tantive 4. Yeah, he started us off. All right, sorry.
I wanted to talk about one thing real quick with the ships, and it's something I noticed when I was looking at it, and maybe I'm just crazy like usual. Definitely tell by the hair. So when it came to Imperial and Rebel, I noticed like that when you started looking at like the bigger ships, like destroyers and stuff like that, capabilities way better than anything the Rebels had in regards to like capital starships. But when you got to the smaller ships, I noticed that a lot of the ships, like the Y-wing, the X-wing stuff, were way better than generally most of the TIE fighters, and all the different variations of that. So, why do you think that the Rebels put so much more focus on like personal fighters than like the capital ships? If you agree, and if you don't agree with me about that, I mean, go ahead and throw out your opinion on that too. Go ahead, Travis. I saw your finger.
There's a lore explanation for that, and it's related to them just whatever they could afford. So any model of fighter that they could get their hands on and buy from like scattered other planets, because not everybody was under Imperial control in the galaxy, right? Because they talk about that Tatooine not being part of the Empire. Yeah, it's just whatever they could afford to buy, whatever they could get their hands on, and so they would just purchase all of these different style of ships. Now they had some that they had a direct pipeline for, like the X-wing and the Z95 headhunters and things like that. So they had like particular lines, but yeah, your A-wings, your Y-wings, the B-wings, all of those purchased just wherever they could get their hands on stuff. And so that's the lore explanation, is why the Rebels have this wide array of different style of fighters.
Well, I think that it really that difference that you're talking about, I don't think there's much arguing with you, Eric. I think that you're 100% right. I think Imperial equipment definitely followed the pattern you described, and I think there's a serious reason for it. Now, obviously, the rebellion had to work in outside channels. That's why so many rebel instances are in the mid and outer rim, and they used whatever they could get a hold of. The X-wing, especially the 65B and the 70, were purpose built, but they had a few of them, and they had to give them to good pilots. For every X-wing on the field, I bet you the Empire could field 300 TIE fighters, and that was just the numbers disparity they were dealing with in the outer and mid rims. You get closer to the core, it's going to be 10 times that. But you can definitely see the Imperial philosophy when it comes to their fighters versus their capital ships, because guess what? Anybody that is a head of state or a commander or a general or anybody that is in a leadership position of authority and privilege is going to have positions on a fantastic capital ship, something like a Star Destroyer, which of course came in from the Archelon class cruisers from the Clone Wars. And those were fantastic. It's hard to beat a Star Destroyer in any particular regard. They're a fantastic ship. But they don't give a shit about their pilots, because any idiot can be set into a TIE Fighter LN and told to go outside and shoot at the things that are not TIE Fighters. And so they'll put 500 people out to kill 3 X-Wings, and have.
So you just hit the throttle all the way forward and don't stop until you see an explosion or Jesus, and that's it.
Yep. Well, and that was the doctrine legitimately for basic swarm pilots, what they called contingent or legion pilots. Is you hit the throttle as fast as you can go, let that twin ion engine, which is what TIE stands for in TIE Fighter, is twin ion engine, get you kicking ass, and then you shoot at stuff as you fly by, moving too fast to be shot back. And that's why you'll find all the TIE Fighters in the movies go at you, shoot at you, and then blow past you and loop back around, because that was the doctrine.
And they were fast.
They were fast. That's all they were, but they were fast.
Gotta go fast.
Shake and bake.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think
Bones? That's. What's that?
You got any comments there, Bones?
No, I mean,
no, we nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everybody knows, Scudmore is in there.
What's up, Scudmore?
Least favorite is the Hammerhead
sorry,
Corvette.
No, I know him personally.
Oh, do you? Okay. Well, yeah. Least favorite Hammerhead Corvette.
That's
and
fair.
They say it's because it seems to be made to ram ships in space, which is counterintuitive to space travel of any kind.
It's also ugly.
Yeah, the
pleasing
Sphyrna
ship.
class Hammerhead Corvette. I don't know what that's actually for. Here's the kicker. There's a certain amount of disbelief we have to suspend for Star Wars, right? And this is with any given space opera, space
Like
battles,
physics.
any of it.
Yeah.
Not even just physics, because we can get around a lot of that with magic sci-fi words. Here's the kicker. In any kind of actual reality, if you're applying our physics system and our logic to it, which, let's face it, Star Wars does not use our system of physics. But if you are trying to do that, then battles in space are not going to take place like they do in the movies. They wanted something cinematic. They wanted something that they could shoot and have very entertaining, with swarms of fighters around these close passing capital ships, broadsiding like it's the 17th century British Navy. That's not how it would work in any kind of realistic space combat. In space combat, it's going to be all missiles with kinetic transfer, and it's going to be shooting from 910,000 kilometers away and letting the rocket travel ballistically.
Yeah, do you know how hard it would be to ram a ship in space?
In space?
When you
Space
just
big.
go up
Yeah.
or
You're
over,
talking you would have to be moving relativistically in order to get a decent ram in space.
And then hope that they don't move at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or change
Or
course.
detect you or any of that. Yeah.
one of my favorite things from like old Legends books was Luke being convinced that this squadron of pilots were committing war crimes using the Force, and he was just convinced that they were doing something dark side related until he got there and found out that they were taking chunks of Durasteel that were just small enough not to be picked up on radar, and then yeeting them into space as fast as they can at parked cruisers. And they were like causing devastating damage. They were like, yeah, we just get it traveling as fast as we can. There's no electronics on it, so they can't pick it up that way, and it's small enough not to get picked up by most radar. So we just fling these big chunks of Durasteel as hard as we possibly can at capital ships. And they were like, I thought you were doing something devious. And the guy was just like, no, but it's genius. Like, we've taken down so many ships by just throwing things. It's fantastic.
It's like the deal is a Stargate joke where the Asgardians come in and need humans' help because all of their energy weapons and advanced technology are being stopped by this other, enemy group, and they can't think dumb enough to do humans. Whereas humans, our entire technological line, every piece of technology we have is some variation of combining stick, rock, and fire.
Was the first time the Mandalorians met Jedi, and they were like, these guys can block our blaster bolts. What if we started shooting solid projectiles? They're like, good thinking.
Yeah, we'll spray them with slag.
Yeah.
Now, in case anybody doesn't know, that's effectively all of the Mandalorians' kit. Everything they're famous for is anti-Jedi tools. That's what they are. You can't lightsaber block a flamethrower.
No, you can block it with the Force, but they also found out that heat transference still works. So it doesn't matter if you stop the fire; it's still hot.
Still hot. Well, that's why they have the zip line. Even is because they wanted to be able to yank stuff around like a Jedi.
So. Yeah, Beskar is very nice to have against the lightsaber as well.
Yeah, anti-lightsaber armor. Yep.
So yeah.
Are there any ships made out of Beskar?
Yes,
there is the Basulik.
Yep.
Mandalorian Basulik fighter. Those were very, very rare.
Expensive.
I
would love to see one in a movie or something, though.
Yeah, they were a combination of like a dogfighter planetary bomber. But there's very, very few of them, and I would venture a guess that most of them probably were disassembled.
Yeah, I would expect. Like, here's the thing. We see it in The Mandalorian in episode 1, nearly in the first scene. Beskar is a rare and extraordinary valuable metal. Most Mandalorians, by creed, not by birth, are still desperately seeking every little scrap that they can, to the point where that a few plates of it was considered an unimaginable amount of wealth to be given to Din Djarin as payment for like going after Grogu.
Should also be noted that most of the armor that Mandalorians wear, like their everyday walking around armor, not complete Beskar. Like none
Little
of
pieces
those,
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the Mandalorian is the exception to having the full Beskar suit.
the whole fall of Mandalore is because the Empire strip mined it for all of their resources.
That is
so-
fact.
Cracked the whole planet.
The whole
Yep.
thing. Yep.
But yeah, so yes, there is in fact a Beskar fighter, and there are not very many of them. I don't think they were out Atmo. I don't know if they were a starfighter.
I'm looking it
not.
up right now. They are a starfighter. It was created by Mandal Motors. Now, bear in
Love
mind
the
we
name
are.
of that company, Mando Motors.
They were designed originally after the Yuzon Vong War, entering service about 40 ABY. That's changed a little bit with our new lore, naturally.
I
But
don't think
that
we
brings up.
have
Sorry, go ahead.
them in. We don't have them in new lore. We don't know.
Yeah. Actually, I guess you're right. This is all kind of speculative.
Who knows?
But yeah, they were a starfighter, 15 meters long, 8 meters wide, wildly overarmed because Mandal Motors. 4
shocker,
blaster
man.
cannons, 2 additional weapon mounts, torpedo tubes, all the good stuff.
It's the Fer-de-Lance from
From Elite Dangerous.
from Elite Dangerous.
It's just
How far can you
wildly
go?
overarmed.
About 800 feet. What can you do in that 800 feet? Whatever I want.
So this came up with a question I wanted to ask you guys at about the halfway mark. I asked some friends of mine locally about this, and there were some interesting ideals. I want to get y'all's opinion. I know that in Star Wars, technological advancement is extraordinarily slow. A lot of technology is stagnant. Many technologies are lost because of the conflicts across the galaxy. How long do you think a make or model of starship could stay feasibly functioning or in circulation if it was under a good amount of care? Because like some of the ships that I was looking at for my list today are Old Republic. Some of them are 10,000, 12,000 years old to our current timelines. Do y'all think some of those might have been able to stand a test of 10 millennia?
I mean, I think with anything, you're going to have stuff that lasts and then stuff that gets replaced. Everything gets replaced eventually, right? You look at just trying to think of a real world example of a piece of equipment that lasted forever.
The older cars, they'd last.
I mean, but they
forever.
really
You just had to
didn't.
replace
They were
parts.
replaced. But
Yeah.
they got
In the-
outmodeled super fast. I mean, the
in
only
the
thing I
grand
can
scheme of
really
things, you don't see them anymore. You don't see
No.
like old
I
cars
think-
except for like shows
Well, and here's
Like,
the
I think,
kicker.
like, as
There's a
far as-
reason for it.
or Cuba.
Because yeah, but you look at some of those original cars, a lot of them hold a lot of love and are cherished classic pieces.
Mhm.
But as much as I love a 1970 Cuda, it's going to be outperformed by a 1995 Civic in
Yeah, but
nearly
we're not
every
talking.
regard.
We're not talking about performance. You're just talking about utility and being able to be used and stuff
But
like that.
even
Like
even
you're
with
talking about the
utility,
ships.
Yeah,
my grandfather had a 1955 Ford pickup. I guarantee you, my GMC Canyon can haul more and perform better than the 1955, right? So obviously, if you're going to be doing any type of work, you don't want the 1955. The only reason you would keep it and keep it running is because you have a particular attachment to that particular make and model. And I think you would see that in Star Wars because obviously some ships that are rare become collector pieces. Count Dooku's ship was notably a collector's piece.
Mhm.
So
The
yeah,
sol-
I think
solar
some of them will
sails?
keep running. Yeah, the solar sail. Some of them will keep running because people enjoy them and like take care of them. But at the same time, as soon as something more efficient comes out, the grand majority of people are going to replace it. And you see that in Star Wars, the same as everything else. That's why there's no more like YT-100 freighters. Was it a good freighter
Yeah.
at the time? It was really good.
lightsabers.
Oh, there you go.
That's a piece. Yeah, that's a piece of equipment that would just stand the test of time. Those don't change much after they stopped making them backpack powered.
Yeah.
I think that was,
You
which
do
I
get
guess
a couple.
is
You
Legends
get a variation
now, so.
every now and then, but they're still pretty
Yeah.
much the same.
Yeah,
Pretty much,
their
yeah.
their design has not really shifted beyond personal customization.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that one has 2 blades.
Yeah, mine's a fidget spinner.
Oh man, that reminds me of one of the worst like Legends books where it was the fan blade lightsaber
Oh,
that
I
could
know
be
it.
combined into a shield, and all I could think of, I was like, you're chopping off a toe. There's no way to effectively wield that. Like that is a bad design.
Well, and I think we can all agree that the lightsaber itself is just meant to be cool, right? Like it's a sword in space.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
It's
They
a
wanted their
laser
swords to
blocking
be
sword in space.
yeah, they wanted their stuff to be extra special, and I think we can really accept a certain degree of like suspension of disbelief when it comes to a lightsaber. There are some of them that I struggle with, and I have friends that think they're super cool, but I have two in particular, and Ugly is going to be so pissed at me for this. I don't think the long hilted lightsabers do anything. There's no added benefit for strength when applied to a lightsaber.
I gotta get back to ships.
Yeah.
I have to counter Ryan's point. So a longsword, a traditional longsword from medieval times, has an extended handle but not an extended blade, right? The blade is not any longer than your standard knight's sword. The reason the longsword was so good was because you could extend that handle further down, and so when you're heavily armored, you make minor moves and you're moving that blade much more, and you can actually exert more force because the handle is longer. So yes, you can in fact
But
generate
here's-
a more controlled
that-
and precise move. But again, with it being Star Wars, I don't think that's the difference maker.
But with a
But
lightsaber,
a long-handed thing does make a difference.
Ships.
But it's a-
We're on ships.
yeah, we'll get
Ships.
to ships in a minute.
No,
with
no,
the-
we can't. No, we got to move. All right, so I do like the fact that in Star Wars 2 they do a lot of ship things in regards to like not just like the country or whatever you want to call it, but they also
Planet.
do it by like they also do it by religion, like Jedi or Sith ships, and then you got like Imperial, and you got the Rebels and things like that. So like you got your Fords, you got your Chevys and things of that nature. I have to say, like looking and going over all the ships, like I was a big fan of like some of the Sith stuff from like the Old Republic. I know they didn't carry them over, but they were some menacing looking ships like prior to some of the newer stuff that came out, and I have no clue why the Empire would ever go away from them. Like I was a fan of the Harrower class dreadnought. That was a cool looking
Yeah.
ship, like
Just
very
careful, you're-
intimidating.
Your inner edgelord is showing.
I wish that the Sith infiltrator would have got more screen time than just
Yeah.
Oh.
Bones' internet hiccuped.
All right. Well, I actually
the infiltrator is a dope ship.
The infiltrator is fantastic, and your point, Eric, I think is fantastic. There's actually a lot of history that goes unnoticed and untalked about when it comes to manufacture in the Star Wars universe, and that's what I was actually setting up with the discussion of the design stand the test of time. My personal favorite ship in Star Wars, which I know you're getting to at the end, was manufactured by Kuat Drive Yards, and Kuat Drive Yards became really well known for Imperial design. And so every time you see like the Star Destroyer, for example, with that sleek kind of hard gray, lots of like angles and edge, that was all Kuat Drive Yards. Where they came from, and other companies that were absorbed and acquired by them, I think is a fascinating history as to why. So Sinar, what is the name of that manufacturer? Sinar Fleet Systems? Yes, Sinar Fleet Systems is a wild history because they went from one of the premier manufacturers of starships and starship components over the entire galaxy to a meteoric fall that led to almost bankruptcy until one scion of the original family took one last design and sold it to the Empire and saved the entire company. And so, yeah, without getting into too much of a rant, I guess, about that, the manufacture I think is fascinating. And Mandel Motors is up there because Mandel Motors really wasn't anything to do with being Mandalorian other than it was on Mandalore for the longest time. They just made good shit.
Corellian Engineering, best manufacturer of starships.
CEC is kind of hard to compete with. They're basically Toyota. Like
They made so much of the Empire's stuff. Like I think they were responsible for the design of the Super Star Destroyer. They were responsible for the design on, I want to say it was the Arc fighter in the Clone Wars.
Oh, C's, I mean, hell, they're responsible for probably 70% of every freighter design coming out of the core.
Yeah, and then just a massive amount of like Star Destroyers, battle cruisers, frigates. They made so much stuff for the Empire.
Oh yeah. Well, and CEC was brilliant. It's kind of like General Electric from our real world history, right? Like the war started, and Carillion Engineering decided that they were going to supply the gear, and they got unbelievably wealthy about it.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that Carillion Engineering Corporation made for the Empire is absolutely insane. So
I have a question then. Since not what's your favorite ship, but what ship do you most want to see in a live action series or movie?
What if they're the same thing?
I mean, it could be.
Huh.
I would love to see one of the ships that's designed to ram stuff and see how it would work out in the movie.
Like, you don't have to do that. You just activate your hyperdrive and then destroy an entire fleet.
Oh, don't get me started. Freaking Holdo ruined.
I already got him mad. I didn't have to do anything. I got him mad.
But I would like to see how they worked out, like what they actually used them for, out of curiosity. Because generally, even when you see the movies and they do blockades and stuff like that, like all the bigger ships are so spaced out. Like there's legitimately no need to ram anything. Yeah. So it's very interesting as to like what would the usage be. So I'd love to see something like that.
You know, actually, saving my favorite ship for later because that one would be great. What I would like to see, it technically has been in a live action, but I want to see an interior, and see it well used its functionality is going to be the YV-666. Bosk's Houndstooth, or Houndstooth was his getaway deal. You know, his big boxy freighter, that was supposed to be the YV series competition to the YT series. I'd like to see how that one's supposed to function and what its interior layout would be like. Its engine arrays are weird. It's got moving parts for no reason at all, and I want to see how they I don't know how to animate its movement in an actual dogfight. Yeah, the YV-666 would be one that I'd be keenly interested in. What about you?
Mine is I think a little bit controversial, only because it's from a controversial species. You either love them or you hate them. Because I want to see them in live action, and that's the Yuuzhan Vong world ship.
I knew it.
I knew something Yuuzhan Vong was coming down the pipe when he started talking.
Their ships would look really cool though. Like
the world ship is crazy, man. Like
the world ship is
giant.
Cool. The coral skippers are nuts too. If you like,
that's what I mean. Their whole array of ships would be cool to see. Be hard to do live action, I think, though, but it'd be very cool to see.
You know, I don't know. Stargate Atlantis did organic ships pretty well.
That's a fair point.
I bet you they could do it. I don't know. Like, again, controversial, right? I'm not perfectly sure I want the Yuuzhan Vong storyline to be made canon. It was cool, but it was really weird.
I liked those books. I liked those books until they started winding down towards the end of the Yuuzhan Vong, where stuff got kind of.
Well, it went too long.
It went too long.
That series went way too long with that.
The first 4 books at the beginning of the war were all amazing. But again, that's a topic for a different time. Mine, I would like to see is the KST-100 Kestrel.
Ooh,
just because that's a crazy design. Like it's got the big long front fins and yeah, the KST-100 Kestrel is a dope ship from the comics. Is the only time you ever see it. I would love to see that go into live action more than anything.
Yeah, the Kestrel would be That'd be
It's
so
so
cool.
dope. It's such a dope design. Like,
For those that don't know, the Kestrel is a very angular. It's actually an executive transport. It
Yeah.
carries VIPs. It is really neat looking because it looks kind of naked. It's like you took all the plating off of a ship, and left the skeleton. It's neat. I'd like to see that one.
yeah, it's so cool looking. So,
Eric, you
let's
got
see,
one?
we've covered
Or did we
yeah.
cover Eric?
Yeah, I was mentioned I wanted to see like the Hammerhead Corvettes or something like that. You know, it just
something
I was-
designed
Oh, that's right.
to
Yeah.
hit other
Yeah,
ships.
I just super curious as to what the point would be because I would understand if they were closer together and things like that. Like maybe it would make sense, but the fact that there's all
See-
kinds of room and it's space, like
I do have a
Jesus.
shout out for Scud Mora. Sorry to interrupt you, Eric. Wanting to see the Sun Crusher from the Dark Apprentice series.
Yeah,
If I
that's
remember
good.
right, that's the big vacuum eater, right? Sun Crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one would be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing. See, this is where I get weird though. A lot of people don't care about the ships. I realize everybody's a Star Wars fan for their own kind of niche, right? Some people have an umbrella like for Star Wars, not a lot of attention to detail. I'm a ships guy. I like getting. So if I saw the Sun Crusher, right, I want to get an inside look like we got for like the
Death Star.
Death Star. Thank you. Ooh, I got stuck for a minute. Like we saw for the Death Star. I want to see.
Turn him off and turn it back on again.
Yeah. I want to see the internal workings, the ventilation, the power generation. I want to see how the hell they're explaining that thing working. Yeah, Sun Crusher would be wild.
God, that is
I mean-
a low profile ship. That's yeah.
Right?
There's quite a few ships that people
I'd be
don't
down. I'd be
realize
down to
they're
see the
like.
Sun Crusher. There's so many Star Wars ships, especially
I mean,
after
like,
the
in the
comics
sense
and
of,
books.
like-
There's just a bananas amount.
I mean, like the big ones that like are planet destroying and stuff like that. There's like a few of them.
Mhm.
I think people always forget that like they're very like certain ones are kind of rare. Like the Sun Crusher was like a very like it was one of a
Oh
kind.
yeah, there's
I
one.
don't think there was.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
it
think
was a
they
super
mass
weapon.
producing. Yeah,
Uh,
I wish
Well,
they
and
do stuff
honestly-
like that with the movies. That would
So
be cool.
they do. They just never talk about it. Voss, the dude that was the villain, played by I believe it was Paul Bettany in Solo, was the crime boss with the face scars.
Yeah.
So his ship was the First Light, and that was a Naur class personal yacht. And the Naur class, well, Kalevala Spaceworks that made his ship, they don't make ships. They custom create vehicles for people. And so they're only ever one of a kind. They just never talk about that. And it's not a super weapon or anything, admittedly, because you're right. They cover super weapons okay. They just go about it in different ways because every super weapon is entirely unique. But I do think that unique one of a kind ships are an interesting aspect they don't really talk about a lot.
there's some of them that have been designed. So the Immobilizer 418 is a model of Star Destroyer. That's specific purpose is to be a blockade ship because it's got like an insane number of tractor beams on it. And so it just catches ships. That's all it does. And you see it and it looks like it's the same general profile as a Star Destroyer, but then it's covered with these little nodules that all have multi-directional tractor beams. And so they just hang around a planet and then just snatch people up. And again, that would have been terrifying to see in any of the movies, right? When they started rolling out the Star Destroyer, it's like, oh, like, yeah, we can't get off this planet. There's an immobilizer in Atmo or whatever, or nearby. So missed opportunity on that to have the 418 immobilizer as part of the show, since most of those Imperial class ships are gone now.
See, I accept the what was it 4, 5, and 6 not having a lot of these ships, but as the universe continued to grow and build and stuff like that, there is no excuse that we couldn't have had some of these badass ships in 1, 2, 3, or
1, 2, 3 had a large
7,
variety of
8,
ships in it.
9. It did,
Yeah.
but like none of the badass ones, like like the planet destroying ones or anything like that, or like some of the more
Oh, you're just wanting the
uh,
big super weapons, okay? Because
not
like,
just those, but like there's some of the bigger ships, like he had mentioned the ship with all the tractor beams on it, things like that, like something unique, a lot more creative inside the
Some of the different
Star Wars
types of
universe.
dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Instead of
something.
the same Class 3 Star Destroyers we've seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we saw what was somebody help me out? What was the make and model of that Star Destroyer? We saw it in Andor. Had the big tractor beam dish and the listeners on the front. There were so many variations on the standard Star Destroyer make and models that kind of don't get a lot of attention unless they're just blowing up for no reason. I personally, after thinking about it for a minute, Bones to see in live action, the Raider Corvette.
That'd be a cool.
It
one.
yeah, actually, do I have it out? I might not. The Raider Corvette was designed for, I think it was Starfighter. No, it was one of the Star Wars video games that came out relatively recently. And it was a Star Destroyer esque. It was definitely a cool out drive yards design, and it was meant for a fighter interceptor, and was a Corvette. And I think that one would
The
be a lot of fun.
this one was in the Clone Wars animated series, but the Subjugator class dreadnoughts
Oh yeah,
would be fucking cool too to see
Yeah.
in live action.
Yeah, they had the one that shot the ion ring. I forget what that one was
Yep.
called.
Yeah, the Mega Ion Cannon or some shit like that.
Yeah. It was I did like the fact that they spent a lot of the time in that show in regards to that ship going,
the Malevolence.
they had the Malevolence, that was the name of
Yeah.
the ship. And they constantly talking about how expensive it was to produce. Like, this has been insane. And I feel like if we're going to make a ship important, that's one of the things that you should really emphasize is like, hey, this cost us a lot to make. This isn't something we can afford to just lose. So
Absolutely.
I
Deploy
it, but be careful.
I think the Separatists really did a good job with some of their designs and stuff. I love Separatist fleets. I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Their battle stations in space are so booky. Like
That is a fact. Yeah, like
that is an ugly design. It's a donut.
yeah. I get what it's for, right? It's just it is all practicality. There's no design to it at all. It's just meant to be a computer. Its very existence seems weird to me, but again, different physics. Maybe they're limited bandwidth or something. I don't know. I honestly think they just wanted something to blow up that could save everybody.
Yeah.
But I think their dreadnoughts were fantastic. The Malevolence and similar fare in the animated series really went up against some of the more prototype and interesting ships. With what was the Needle? Anybody got to make a model of that one? I think it was the Spectre Needle. Anyway, it was the ship.
On that one.
It was a ship that it was just a giant cylinder that could turn actually invisible. It just had a full cloaking array on it. And that's probably the most realistic ship we've seen in Star Wars. Despite,
cloaking ships in Star Wars are dope. There's some confusion because there's other types of cloaking besides being invisible in Star Wars, and that's being invisible to radar.
Yeah.
Something that has been on a lot of actually much smaller ships in the Star Wars universe is being invisible to radar. Or being made so ridiculously tiny that they don't show up on radar sweeps anyway, which was the big advantage of, I think, the A-Wing was their like super speed fighter.
Yeah, that one's the one that was too small, and they had to develop the special seams, kind of like they did for our stealth bombers, like the SR-71. The other ones, like you're talking about, was Darth Maul's scimitar was stealth capable, and the G-1A starfighter that was used by the bounty hunter guy could also. It had a combination cloaking device. G1A was used by the Mist Hunter was used by Zuckuss, Forlom and Zuckuss.
You know more about Star Wars bounty hunters than me, man. That's not a subject I've delved into.
But the G1A combined both of them. That's because that's all that ship did. It was an engine, cloaking device, and in a cockpit.
I do find it kind of funny for Star Wars has always been notorious for like the giant variety of aliens and like the planet variety and stuff like that, to have like such a lacking of variety in the ships.
See, I think that's a misnomer. I think there is a wide variety of ships, but the unfortunate
I
thing
mean,
is they don't get a lot of screen time in the movies.
Yeah, look at episode 6 and the fleet that shows up to the battle at Death Star 2. I mean, you have stuff from Mon Cala, you had Corellian freighters that had been weaponized, you had
Oh yeah.
But you see him for like 2 seconds.
well,
Well, that's
yeah,
because
but that
they
wasn't
like
the
to.
focus of the show. Also, the budget was not what you would think,
Yeah.
given they
Animating
were
big
still having to
spaceships
use mostly
expensive.
practical effects.
Yeah, I mean, no, literally, like, oh, you get a bunch of aliens because they hired a guy that does monster masks last minute, and he was like, fuck, here, you wear this one, you wear this one, you wear this one. Now we have a bunch of aliens.
Yeah, the
Well,
scene in the scene in the cantina was actually literally a bunch of reused monster masks
Yeah.
from other movies.
Well, from one of the greatest, actually, special effects artists.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the guy's an absolute legend. But they were like, "What masks do you have that you're not using?" And he was just like,
No, it was literally like a last minute thing for him, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could do that, I guess.
Well, and here's the kicker:
Here
they
they
really
are.
like to use the formula that worked really well for New Hope, right? They like turning particular ships into characters. Same Serenity and Firefly, the Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon's a character. There are a lot of people that know a bunch about the Millennium Falcon, its modifications, its weapon systems, ones that are both canon and not canon anymore, because they treated the ship like a character. And so they do that. It's kind of like when you look at Rebels, the VCX 100 that they call Ghost, and its deployable ship, the Phantom, in Phantom 2 later on with the Sheathipede class shuttle. Those are all characters that you learn very, very well. For doing that for every kind of ship out there, it's not feasible in any kind of storytelling, even if they could have an infinite budget to animate it. Interestingly, I think that they try to do that with a lot of ships and can't stick the landing. I think the ship from Skeleton Crew is fantastic. I fell in love with it, and they did some really odd things with that particular ship. And so, yeah, I think that we're going to get one ship at a time kind of over and over again. And we need to just kind of know, I guess, that there are a lot more out there.
Yeah, there's only so much screen time that you can feasibly use and still tell a coherent story. Just ask Zack Snyder, who can't fit an entire movie inside an entire movie.
I have breaking news. Montreal just beat Buffalo 6-3.
Nice.
3-2 in the series. That's very important.
Is that for the final?
No, this is just the second round.
I stopped watching when Dallas got eliminated.
That was so sad.
All right, guys. So we're here at the
here.
Yep, we're going along. We're here at the end of the episode. So let's go ahead and do favorite ships. You know, you're an OC in Star Wars. What do you got?
Can I guess Ryan's?
I doubt you get it, but I'll give you a try.
I'm gonna give it a shot and say it's a Slave 1 or Slave 2.
So actually, whenever we were talking about doing the comparatives, I pulled up the D5 Mantis Patrol Craft to compare to the Firespray 31. The Firespray 31 is interesting. It's actually one of my least favorite ships in Star Wars because I don't like. Oh no, I love it, but that's because they can't make up their mind on the cannon. Does the cockpit and the interior rotate when the ship lands on its back? Does it not? Like, they can't make up their bloody minds. So it drives me nuts.
Dude, I'm cheesy, man. I've always wanted and will always want the Millennium Falcon. Like, the end of the
1300's
day,
fine.
Oh, I get it.
I don't want. I want the Millennium Falcon. Like, the
you're gonna take out Solo.
Like, that's the thing I would want. Like, out of any of them.
My favorite thing
so
from
cool.
Legends is that the reason Han Solo is the only one that can really get all of it, like get everything the Millennium Falcon has to offer out of it, is because he's the one that made all of the ridiculous modifications, and that's why they only work for him, is because he installed them wrong.
And I can confirm that's the way it works in real life. My dad and my grandfather were both grease monkey mechanics that customized every vehicle in our fleet, and they were the only bloody ones that could fix them or drive them. Like,
yeah, there's a reason that ship was directly associated with him and nobody else really flew it, is because it was a piece of junk for everybody else unless you knew how to get everything out of it. But I digress. Bones, what do you got?
Anybody want to take a guess? I'll give you a hint. It is an interceptor.
Interceptor.
Is it Old Republic?
I'm only giving you the one
Is it-
hint.
Is
It's
it the
got to be the Old
Vengeance?
Republic Interceptor.
The Mark 6 Supremacy.
The Supremacy count. I don't know. I took a stab with the Vengeance, which is a named interceptor, but
Supremacy's cool.
Yeah, I love the design. I would love to see that too, but obviously that's Sith Empire, so
Yeah.
that's-
Hey, 4 forward-facing laser cannons and a twin iron engine array? That's a fast boy.
yeah. The Sith Interceptor is a dope ship. That is
All right.
a dope one.
I'll
for
take
sure.
the next one. I've put an unbelievable amount of thought into this particular question on what is my favorite ship, what do I want to fly. I've been all over the place. Mine is one that was created for a video game and made its way into canon slowly, and now it is back in its contested seat, and that is the VT-49 Decimator.
This up.
The Decimator, originally released for Star Wars Galaxies, it was designed to be the bad guy Millennium Falcon, so to speak. It has both a ventral and dorsal mounted laser turrets, and I think one of the coolest layouts and deck designs in Star Wars. I absolutely love the intimidating frontage, and as far as my personal headcanon goes, if I'm going to steal a ship and run off to the edges of space, it's going to be a VT-49 Decimator.
That is dope. I chose my favorite ship. I also chose a named one, but is the Errant Venture. I
Hell
love
yeah.
the cannon around it. I love the design. That's another one I would love to see just pop up in a film at some point because it was
Actually, yeah,
literally
that one's got to
just
be in a film.
It's a pirate ship.
Yep, with a
and
casino on it.
Yeah, a guy and his crew intentionally got caught by a Star Destroyer with the sole purpose of escaping from their prison cell and then stealing the ship, and they did. They ended up, long story short, they locked down the bridge. Essentially, as soon as they got control of the bridge, they locked the doors and then vented all of the other openings into space. And so
It's only one of what 7 Star Destroyers that have ever been successfully captured.
Yeah, and so they noticed they were running into trouble when they were flying around is because they would get mistaken for Imperial ships. So the guy just decided, like, well, why don't we just paint it red? Which is like my favorite answer to like, how do we make sure
faster.
our Star Destroyer, doesn't look like the rest of them? It's like, oh, just give it a slick paint job, and so it became like a floating fence where you could go sell stolen goods. It was a floating casino for a while. It was used as he stripped the paint off it occasionally and would go just hang out with Imperial fleets to listen to the radio chatter before flying off. The Errant Venture is by far the coolest Star Destroyer ever, and I think it's only like a Type 3, like it's one of the older models.
It played a big part in like Legends, though. Like,
it did.
There was a lot that happened with that.
Oh yeah.
Very important ship in history.
Honorable mention to the B-28 Extinction class.
Ooh, I gotta look that one up. B-28.
Pretty fucking cool, yeah.
I got to give a special shout out to the Y-wing. I know that's a goofy design, but I actually really like the Y-wing.
Oh yeah, Bones, you got a good love for the Old Republic, man. I dig it.
Bones cringed at the Y-wing. It's a hideous ship, but like, it makes sense because someone's like, let's put 2 gigantic engines on a bomber. Like,
so here's the
like,
thing about the Y-wing: the actual histories behind the Y-wing, how it got its shape, what it was doing, I think are fascinating. Basically, it was one of the first ships that was purpose built for the rebellion. It came out so fast they didn't have time to put all the armor and all the bits and bobs on it because they were working off a chassis from the Clone Wars, and boom, there we get the Y-wing, and I think it's fantastic. I did have, if we're doing honorable mentions, I want to bring up the Fondor Hallcraft, one of the most well-known and versatile ships that we saw used extensively in Andor. It belonged to the Spymaster dude that used it to fight the little listening Star Destroyer. I think the Fondor Hallcraft would be my backup plan in a heartbeat. I absolutely love that ship.
Special shout out to the Razor Crest, because that was also a cool design.
Rip.
Yeah, we'll miss you. That was also another Corellian design, in case anybody's wondering why it was so cool, is because it is yet another Corellian engineering design.
I love that you're so loyal to CEC, man. Actually, I think that's really neat.
They made all the coolest ships.
So that's it. We talked about a lot of ships. So what we're looking at doing next next time. I'm kind of surprising everybody with it. What I'd like to do is I want everybody to, including myself, we'll grab a storyline from Legends and kind of see what we'd like to see come out in like the new movies. Obviously, Bones already brought up his. I mean, obviously you can grab a new one or go more in detail, stuff like that. But there was some really good storylines that popped off in Legends.
Legends Resurrection episode.
Or,
Okay.
or if not like a storyline, like maybe a character or something in particular that you think something they should add from Legends to our current lineup for Star Wars. Because I think like I said, there's a lot. Like there's a few characters I really like. There's quite a few storylines, and I think like a lot of the characters could be plug and play that you could put in there, especially with like Rey starting up a Jedi school again. There's so many avenues that they could go with that, and so many badass Jedis from Legends. First swear word, hour in.
We need to go
Actually,
back in
we
time.
blew that a while back.
I didn't though.
Oh yeah, hey, well done.
We need to go back in time. I need an episode of Kenobi where Obi-Wan meets Dax because I want to know how they know one another. That's always bothered me from the prequel trilogy, and I'm like, cool that you have a underworld contact, but like how? Like, I need to know how you know him.
Actually, I could get behind that. In any case, guys, we are here at the end of the episode. If you stayed this long, obviously you like what you're hearing. We want to now hear from you. Please give us a comment down below with some of your favorite ships in Star Wars, ones that you think we missed, especially ones that are your least favorite and why. I will absolutely join in with anybody that wants to bitch about Holdo and what she did to that poor Starlane. And we'd appreciate hearing from you. And if you do that, take the extra time, give us a little bit of a click, give us a like. It really helps us out around here. And you know what? If you're not, you should follow us because we know the way.
And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all.
Bye.
It's nice.